Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 24. Text is 18. Everybody speaks English or understands English. Please repeat after me. Esha manavite garbham. Esha manavite garbham. Pravishta kaita bardhanaha. Pravishta kaita bardhanaha. Avidya samshaya grantim. Avidya samshaya grantim. Chitvagam vicharishyati. Chitvagam vicharishyati. Isha manavite garbham. Pravishta kaita bardhanaha. Avidya samshaya grantim. Chitvagam vicharishyati. Esha manavite garbham. Pravishta kaita bardhanaha. Avidya samshaya grantim. Chitvagam vicharishyati. Esha. Matajis. Esha manavite garbham. Pravishta kaita. Esha, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. Manavi, O daughter of Manu, te, your, Garbam, womb, Pravishtaha, has entered, Kaitabardhanaha, the killer of the demon Kaitataba, Avidya, of ignorance, Samshaya, and of doubt, Grantim, the knot, Chitva, cutting off, Gam, the world, Vicharishyati, he will travel over. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma then told Devahuti, my dear daughter of Manu, the same personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitaba is now within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world. Purport. Here, the word avidya is very significant. Avidya means forgetfulness of one's identity. Every one of us is a spirit soul, but we have forgotten. We think I am this body. This is called avidya. Samshaya granti means doubtfulness. The knot of doubtfulness is tied when the soul identifies with the material world. That knot is also called ahankara, the junction of matter and spirit. By proper knowledge, received from the scriptures in disciplic succession, and by proper application of that knowledge, one can free himself from this binding combination of matter and spirit. Brahma assures Devahuti that her son will enlighten her, and after enlightening her, he will travel all over the world, distributing the system of Sankhya philosophy. The word Samshaya means doubtful knowledge. Speculative and pseudo-yogic knowledge is all doubtful. At the present moment, the so-called yoga system is prosecuted on the understanding that by agitation of the different stations of bodily construction, one can find that he is God. The mental speculators think similarly, but they are all doubtful. Real knowledge is expounded in Bhagavad Gita. Just become Krishna conscious, just worship Krishna and become a devotee of Krishna. That is real knowledge. And anyone who follows that system becomes perfect without a doubt. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Esha manavite garbam pravishta kaita vardhanaha avidya samshaya grantim chitva gam vicharishyati. Lord Brahma then told Devahuti, my dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitaba is now within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world. So Lord Brahma here is pacifying Devahuti, so to say. And he is telling her that in your womb, Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear and he will cut your ignorance. It is interesting that Prabhupada in this purport translates avidya. Avidya, in a word for word translation, is ignorance. But in purport, Prabhupada says avidya is forgetfulness of one's identity. So he he uses this word forgetfulness, and we are all forgetful of our true nature, that we are spirit soul. And the real knowledge is knowing spiritual knowledge. When there were 5 Pandavas, 5 brothers, they were in a forest, and there was a lake. One lake was there, and they were very thirsty. And Yudhishthir sent one brother after the other to search for water. So they approached this lake one by one, Yudhishthir's brothers. But when they approached the lake, Yamaraj was there. Yamaraj is Lord of Death. But he's also Dharma. He knows what is right and what is wrong. He's the demigod in charge of this task. So when they approached the lake, before they could drink, Yamaraj said that they should answer his questions. But because they were Kshatriyas, they did not accept this warning. So every brother, first Nakula, Sahadeva, then Arjuna, then Bhima, every one of them drank without bothering about these questions. They just drank the water, and they fell dead. And then Yudhishthir came there, and he saw his dead brothers. But he saw that there was no battle, so he was perplexed. And then Yamaraj appeared and told him that he is responsible for this. And before drinking the water from the lake, he should answer his questions. And Yudhishthir was prepared. And one of the questions from Yamaraj was, what is the most important wealth that a person has? And Yudhishthir told him that knowledge is most important. Yes, but Yamaraj asked, but what kind of knowledge? And then Yudhishthir told him that knowledge about the divine, about the supreme. Meaning spiritual knowledge is most important. Why? Because you can see nowadays so many scientists, so many learned scholars, they are very proud of their learning. But we know what is true knowledge. This is like Advaita Simha Prabhu was telling yesterday, this Sanatana Goswami. Kiami, who am I? He asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why am I suffering? We should ask ourselves this question. But first we have to see that we are suffering in the material world. Just when I was young bhakta, we had Harinam on coastal part of Croatia, and this coastal part is touristic part. In the summertime there were many tourists are there to come to enjoy, and we were doing Harinam, we were singing the Lord's name, and we were going in one harbor, and there were many boats there parked, so to say. And on one boat there was a party. There was loud music, and people were drinking, and they were dancing, and we were singing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then one older devotee told me, see how they are suffering. But I was very young, I didn't see it, I was thinking they're having fun, they're having a nice party. But he saw, that actually this is suffering, forgetfulness of Krishna. Because Prabhupada was so merciful that also when he saw that some elderly gentlemen were playing golf, he became so sad, and he almost started to cry, because he was thinking these older men, they are wasting time. They don't understand. We know that if we read Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we can take instructions from previous acharyas and from great spirit souls, like 5 Pandavas. They were very dear to Krishna, and they knew that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And although at that time there lived many kings and many devotees were so-called devotees were there, because they didn't know that Krishna is supreme. And there is a story I want to tell about the Draupadi's marriage with 5 Pandavas. This is described in Mahabharata, but Draupadi was very qualified wife. That's why she became wife of all the 5 Pandavas, and it was unusual in that time. But we have to. I will speak a little bit about her birth from sacrificial fire. We have to understand that Drona Acharya and Drupada, they were friends at the beginning when they were very young. Like Narahari Mataji, she was telling about this story of Drona and Drupada. They were together in Bharadwaj's Gurukula. Bharadwaj was their spiritual master, and he took care of the boys. But they had a different lineage, so to say. Drupada, he was prince, and he was destined to become a king. And Drona, he was poor Brahman. And Drupada, he was young and he was very affectionate to Drona. They were friends, and Drupada told him, "I will give you whatever you want. We are like brothers. You just ask me, we will share anything." In that, he told him like that when he was a young boy. And Dronacharya, he remembered that when Drupada became a king. So Dronacharya, he was very poor. He didn't have money even to buy milk for his son Ashvatthama. Ashvatthama, his son, he never drank milk. And then when he was in Gurukula, these other Gurukula boys gave him water with some color inside, like white color they put in the inside. And they said to him, "This is milk." And Ashvatthama drank it, and he said, "Oh, it was very good." And everybody laughed. This is not milk. So Ashvatthama, he came crying to his mother. And then his mother, Kripi, told Dronacharya, "You have to do something. We don't have even money for a milk." They are laughing. They are making jokes with your son. So in that way, Dronacharya, he asked Drupada. He came and he told him, you remember you promised that you will give me anything. You gave me this boon." But Drupada didn't want to give him anything. He told him that friendship is among equals, but you are not my equal. You are poor. You are poor. So he didn't want to give him anything. So Dronacharya got offended, and he remembered that offense, and he wanted to take a revenge. And he did take a revenge, because Dronacharya, he went to Parashurama. We know that Parashurama is Supreme Personality of Godhead himself that appeared, and he was a fierce warrior, Parashurama. And he killed many kshatriyas. He appeared only for this task of killing proud kshatriyas. And he did that for many generations. He was killing kings. And then when his task was over, he wanted to go to forest, and he gave all his wealth away. And then Dronacharya appeared before Parashurama and asked for so to say, charity. But Parashurama told him, I don't have anything. I only have my body, and I have my celestial weapons. I have my weapons. And Dronacharya told him, I want your weapons. He wanted these weapons for Parashurama. And Parashurama gave Dronacharya these celestial weapons, and he gave him mantras. He gave him the instruction how to use these weapons. So Dronacharya was very powerful because of this thing. He was very powerful warrior. And he became teacher of young Pandavas. And when Pandavas finished their studies, so to say, studying in art of fighting, art of archery, fighting with swords, he teach them everything what he knew. And Arjuna was his best pupil, his best disciple. Because Arjuna was prepared to practice. Arjuna was very, very disciplined, very trained. And he practiced day and night. One day, Arjuna was eating at night by the candlelight. And then wind blew, and wind blew this candlelight, and it was darkness. And then Arjuna continued to eat. And he thought, if I can eat in the dark, I can also shoot. I can also practice in the dark. So he took it up. He also practiced archery at the dark, at night, not seeing the target. And he was shooting at the target. And Dronacharya was very pleased. So in that way, Dronacharya told his disciples, his pupils, now you have to give me dakshina. So please go and defeat Drupada. Defeat Drupada. And they did defeat Drupada because of Arjuna. Actually, Pandavas defeated Drupada. Drupada was very powerful because first Duryodhana and his 100 brothers attacked Drupada and his kingdom. But Drupada, he defeated them. He was very powerful and he had many warriors. But he could not fight Arjuna because Arjuna was only a teenager, but he defeated Drupada. And he bound Drupada and brought him in front of Dronacharya. And Dronacharya told him, now you have to give me half of your kingdom. So in that way, Drupada wanted to take revenge. And see how this works, You got offended, then Dronacharya wanted revenge, and then Drupada again wanted revenge. And Drupada, he approached Brahmanas because he knew Dronacharya was very powerful. I have to please Brahmanas and I will get the benefit. So he approached two Brahmin brothers, Yaja and Upayaja. And it is said that they are in the cyclic succession of Kashyapa Muni. And Drupada approached Upayaja. Upayaja was younger, but he was more powerful. And he served him for many, many years. And he wanted these blessings from him. But Upayaja told him, I will not perform sacrifice for material gain, either for me or for you. So please approach my brother, Yaja, he will do. So again, Drupada approached his brother, and he pleased him, and Yaja agreed he will perform sacrificial sacrifice for Drupada. Drupada told him that I want a son who will defeat Dronacharya, and I want a daughter who will get married to Arjuna. Because Drupada, he was defeated by Arjuna. He was very impressed by Arjuna. He thought Arjuna is a very powerful warrior. So if he marries my daughter, he will become my son-in-law, and he will become very powerful. So in that way, Yaja and Upayaja performed this sacrifice for Drupada, and from sacrificial fire, Drishtyadumna and Draupadi appeared, brother and sister. Drishtyadumna, he will be the killer of Dronacharya. And he appeared immediately like a demigod. He had a shining armor, he had weapons, and Draupadi appeared like a goddess. She was very beautiful, Draupadi. She had a blackish complexion, she had long, curly, beautiful hair. She was very beautiful. She had a very beautiful form. And so very early from the birth, we knew that Draupadi will marry Arjuna. And when 5 Pandavas, they were in a hiding, so to say, because Duryodhana, he wanted to kill 5 Pandavas. He wanted the kingdom for himself. And then he had this plan that he will burn 5 Pandavas in one house in Varanavata. But plan did not work because 5 Pandavas escaped this fire. And Yudhishthir told them, we should remain incognito because Dronacharya, he will always try to kill us. So we should take a disguise. And they took a disguise as a poor Brahmins. That they hide their weapons and they dressed very simple, and they were going from house to house begging alms, begging. This was the business of poor Brahmanas. They were presenting themselves. They were only teenagers. They were young boys, and they were with their mother Kunti Devi, and they were traveling in forest and begging some charity from other people. So they were living in one house of a Brahmin, and then this Brahmin invited different sages to his house. And when these sages came there, they spoke about Draupadi. They spoke about her beauty, her nice character, and immediately 5 Pandavas, they became captivated. This was in previous time. Then, not like nowadays you want to see that person, you want to see the picture, how it looks like. But in those times, people got attracted, their mind got attracted to other person, the opposite sex, by hearing. And Pandavas heard about Draupadi. She was very beautiful. She had a very nice character, and they became captivated. And their mother Kunti Devi saw that they were bewildered, and she said to Yudhishthira, "Okay, let's go," because Draupadi had a Svayamvara ceremony that she chooses the husband. That was in previous times. If you're a princess, then you have this right to choose your husband, and she had this right. So her father Drupada, he knew that my daughter has to marry Arjuna. So he thought about this very difficult task that only Arjuna could accomplish, because Arjuna was well known as a very good warrior and extremely good archer. He could hit anything. So Drupada, he put a target, and in front of the target was very high on one pole, and before target was like one plate. You have like eating plate, but bigger, wooden plate, and in this plate there was a small hole, and this plate was rotating. So you can imagine that this plate is rotating. It has a small hole inside. So you have to shoot from down through this hole into the target. And this plate is circling very fast. So you have to be very, very good archer and very powerful person, because he had also ancient bow that he wanted to kings use. And this bow was very big and very, very strong. So in that way, Kunti Devi told them, let's go there. And they agreed. And 5 Pandavas went there. And they were dressed as the Brahmins. They were playing this role, like we want to stay incognito. We don't want to that Duryodhana knows that we are alive, because everybody thought that 5 Pandavas died in this fire in Varanavata. So in that way, they came there to this big arena where so many kings were there, because Draupadi was very beautiful, and everybody wanted her for a wife. One thing, she was very beautiful, and Drupada, he was very powerful, and he had very rich kingdom. And everybody was amazed when they came there, how Drupada was wealthy, because so many kings came from different countries and they were giving gifts to Drupada, and he was having these big piles of diamonds and gold, and so many Brahmins were there, and he was giving so much charity. And this ceremony took for many, many days, and many kings tried this challenge that they will shoot the target, but they did not succeed. They did not succeed in striking the target. Actually, Duryodhana came very close. Some kings could not even lift the bow, how bow was heavy. They need to lift the bow, string it, put the arrow in a bow, and then shoot the target. But many kings, they did not even come to shooting. They just could not string it, could not put the string on this bow, because bow was very, very big and for very powerful person. But Duryodhana, we think, Duryodhana, because he's an evil prince, he's not some nonsense fellow. Actually, he was very powerful. And Duryodhana came very close to shooting the target. He came, he took a bow, he strung it, he took a arrow. He was looking at the target, and he shoot through this hole, and he came very close to striking the target, Duryodhana. And then Karna wanted to try, and Karna was very powerful person. He was a rival. Actually, he was older brother from Pandavas, and he was a son from Sangad. So he was very powerful. And Karna also wanted to try, but Draupadi said no, because she was princess and this is her Swayamvara, and it was her right to say no, because Karna, they didn't know his gotra, they didn't know what was his background, and because he was left as a child, one charioteer driver took him as a son. So, although he was very powerful, and he was a son of a sun god, he was a son from the demigod, he was very effulgent, very powerful, he became known as a son of a charioteer. And this is like a low class. So Draupadi told him that she stood up and she told everybody, I will not accept charioteer, son of a charioteer driver, as my husband. And Karna was very ashamed and very angry, and he left. So in that way, then Arjuna stood up, and all Brahmins were thinking, what is he doing? Because he was dressed as a poor Brahmin. He was like a poor Brahmin. And Arjuna approached there and he asked, is it permissible for poor Brahmin to try to shoot the target? And then Drupada said, yes, you can do it. And all Brahmana was thinking, what is this nonsense Brahman doing? So many kings, they did not succeed. And this Brahmin, he's trying, he will give us shame. He's shameful. So the Brahmins were divided there. Some Brahmins wanted, let him try. And some Brahmins were not pleased with Arjuna. But Arjuna effortlessly took the bow, strung it, put the golden arrow in a bow, and he shot the target, and which was amazing at that time. And then Draupadi, she accepted. She put a garland around Arjuna's. But even then, they didn't know that this was Arjuna. And they were a little bit perplexed. So Drupada, he saw that because there was commotion, these kings were not pleased. How can this poor Brahmin take what belongs to kings? And they were not pleased. And Drupada saw it will be a fight, and he started to retreat. And then Duryodhana stood up and said, it seems that Drupada invited us here only to shame us, only to embarrass us. And every king was, yes, yes. And they stood up and they took swords and they took arms. They wanted revenge. They wanted to kill Drupada. And then Yudhishthir ordered Arjuna and Bhima to go there because they were already retreating, so to say. And Yudhishthir told him, Arjuna and Bhima, please stay there and defend Drupada. Take arms. And there was a great battle there in this arena. Because Karna fought with Arjuna and Shalya with Bhima. And Karna was very powerful and he was shooting arrows at Arjuna, but Arjuna was striking these arrows down and he was piercing Karna. And he could not believe it, how this poor Brahmin, he's defeating me. Who is this Brahmin? And Karna was very amazed. And Karna stopped fighting and he thought, he's very powerful. There is no use, I cannot defeat him. And Karna stood down. And Bhima, he was fighting Shalya. Shalya was very powerful king. He was a king for Madri king. And he was actually uncle. He was a brother of Madri. And Madri was a mother of Pandavas. So Bhima defeated him, Shalya actually. He threw him so many miles. He just picked him up. But Bhima did not want to kill him because he knew this was my uncle actually. But in that way, they saw, and Krishna and Balaram were also there. They were witnessing this. And Krishna went to Balaram and he told him, see these poor Brahmins, how they are fighting. I think there are actually 5 Pandavas. I mean, who can fight like this? Because Bhima he uprooted one tree and he was using this tree as a weapon. And Krishna told to Balaram, nobody can do this. I think this is Bhima and this is Arjuna. And Balaram looked at it and Balaram told, I think you are right. And anyway, then Krishna approached kings and told him, the Draupadi, the princess, she was won fairly. So you should not fight. You should leave your weapons. And then these kings became pacified because of Krishna's words. So in that way, 5 Pandavas returned with Draupadi to this Brahmin house where they were residing. And Kunti Devi was there. She did not witness this Swayamvara ceremony. And when 5 Pandavas came, because they used to beg for food and for stuff. And then Arjuna told Kunti Devi, "Oh, mother, see what jewel precious jewel we brought back." But Kunti Devi was not in the same room. Kunti Devi just heard Arjuna, and Kunti Devi told, "Just whatever you received, just share it among yourselves." She didn't know that actually they brought a wife, and she told them, "Just share it among themselves, among yourselves." But when she came and she saw there was a Draupadi there, oh, she was thinking, what did I do? I gave you instructions that you should share whatever you brought, but how can you share this beautiful lady? And then everybody was thinking, what should we do? Kunti Devi approached Yudhishthir and told him that, "Please, my words cannot become false. What we will do?" And then Yudhishthir told Arjuna, "Arjuna, you want her? Draupadi, you should marry her." But it was custom that younger brother could not get married if his elder brother was not married. So Arjuna refused. He told Yudhishthir, "I cannot marry until you are married." So then Yudhishthir was thinking, and then he thought, we should all marry Draupadi. He knew it in his heart that this is true. It is not forbidden. It is not against the Dharma, because he is a son of Dharma. So he knew it, Yudhishthir, immediately in his heart, that this is not sinful. And he told his brothers, "We will all share this wife." And then they were very happy. And then they were openly looking at Draupadi. Oh, and Draupadi was very ashamed, And they were very happy that, because, and then Drupada, he still did not know that there were 5 Pandavas. He wanted that Arjuna becomes his son, his son-in-law. He wanted Arjuna as a son, but he did not know that these were 5 Pandavas. And then he prepared one like hall, and he invited them, these Brahmins. And then he had like different tables. He put like some kind of a test for these 5 Brahmanas. And he had one table with all the usually what Vaishya would be attracted to, like plow and these things for agricultural things, and this some merchant things. And then he put like scriptures on one table, and these malas and this and pots and for Brahmins. And on one table he put different kinds of weapons, and normally when 5 Pandavas came, they immediately approached that table with weapons, and they were picking weapons, and they were speaking, and they was discussing these different kinds of weapons. And Drupada saw, these are not Brahmins, these are Kshatriyas actually. And he openly asked them, "Who are you? You're dressed like Brahmins, but actually who are you?" And Yudhishthir then came open and told him that we are actually 5 Pandavas. Then Drupada told him, "Okay, everything is arranged for a marriage between Arjuna and Draupadi." And Yudhishthir told him, "Well, actually, we are all 5 marrying your daughter." And he was, "What?" And he told Yudhishthir, it was heard that a man can accept many wives, but that one wife is accepting many men as a husband. It's not heard of. But then Yudhishthir told him, if Arjuna marries Draupadi, Drupada told him that if it will be like, because in those times when elder brother sees the brother's wife as his daughter actually. So Drupada told him, how come this Draupadi, she will become a wife of your young brothers? So you should see her as your daughter. And how did she will become at the same time your wife? So he gave this some nice arguments, but then Vyasadeva appeared. And Vyasadeva appeared on a scene just to pacify the king. And he took him on a side and he explained, he gave some examples where there was only one wife and many husbands. He told him like that. And he told him that in a previous life, Draupadi, she prayed to Lord Vishnu that she has a powerful husband, but she asked it for 5 times. Let me have a powerful husband. Let me have a powerful husband. Then Shiva appeared, and she told this lady, in the next life, you will have 5 husbands. So Vyasadeva cleared Drupada's doubts, and he explained to him that these 5 Pandavas, they were actually all God Indra in previous lives. And they were very powerful, and in that way Drupada was very pleased, and he gladly gave his daughter to marrying 5 Pandavas. So yes, in these examples we can see actually that 5 Pandavas knew, they had real knowledge, not like forgetfulness. They were not forgetfulness of their true identity. They knew that we are spirit souls, we are Krishna's servants, and always when Krishna was there, they knew this is Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when Krishna was in their company, Yudhishthira always begged Krishna to stay a little bit longer. Oh, please stay a little bit longer. They wanted this association with Krishna. In other very, very powerful kings, they did not see Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. They were, so we have to know the difference between what is real knowledge and what is ignorance. Nowadays you have so many scholars, so many people, they think they finished university and now I'm learning scholar. They become puffed up but actually this educational system is a cheating system. I mean, you can see, I know when I was studying also at university, I finished university. Immediately, if you ask me what do we remember from these subjects that we were learning, you just learn until you pass the exam. You pass the exam immediately. Next week you will not remember anything. You just more, just next. Just passing exams and it's just cheating, And people think now I'm very educated. I'm PhD. I'm doctor. I'm this and that. But no, actually. I remember also when I was doing Sankirtan, when I was speaking with some persons actually, and he was I finished university, I'm this and that, but actually when you speak, he's like buffalo. You're speaking with buffalo. You cannot see actually. That's why we have to be very thankful for Srila Prabhupada that he was very merciful to give us real knowledge in a form of his books, in a form of his instructions. It is very priceless, so to say. We don't have so much time, just we have to dedicate our life to this Krishna consciousness and not to be attracted to so many material things. Bhogashvarya prasaktanam taya pahritam chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadana vidiyate. Krishna says to Arjuna that in the minds of those who are attracted to material enjoyment, who attach to sense gratification, resolute determination to serve the Supreme Personality does not appear. It will not appear. I remember, that's why the book distribution is very good service, so you can see how illusion, how Maya works. I remember when I approached one you always think, when we did house to house, and you always try to think, oh, in this house, it's very nice house, and it must, very nice people live there, and surely they will take a book. But it's not like that. You cannot just see by a house, because I would see some house, it was like in ruins. It was like, it did not have any windows, and it was very cold, and I could not live. One person was living there, and it was very poor, and still he gave me some donation for a book. He didn't have anything, but he gave me some, So anyway, I was approaching this big opulent house, and I was thinking, I will give so many books here. He has money, and the owner of the house was washing car, and he was so fixed up in washing his car in front of a house, and he just didn't want to hear me. He could not hear me. He was just. And then I was leaving, and I told him, surely you must have a name for your car. Oh, he said, yes. He was smiling. I have a. So he named his car. This was his baby, He was washing his baby, and he named his car. So that's why people got attached to so many different things. It's actually Maya. So just imagine when he goes in a car crash, what kind of anxiety it would take in his car. Oh no, my baby. Oh. So we should not make same mistakes and become attached to some material thing. Material things, they are now here and they are gone the next day. Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. This our eternal position that we are servants of Krishna, and we should always remind ourselves of that. I'm speaking big words, but actually I'm preaching to my mind. I'm sitting here that I should remember always that. Ke ami, who am I? We should ask ourselves always that question, and always remain in devotee association. In that way we will become more strong, more powerful. Okay, I will stop here. There are some questions, maybe. Yes, Bhakta Bjorn. Yeah, it's hard to say. Schwer zu sagen. Yes, you are right that that we should forgive, but Dronacharya, he did not. He got offended. Yes, Bhakta Mark, you have. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Some kshatriya qualities are also there. So we have sometimes, we think, oh, you're a Brahmin, you're a Kshatriya, but it's not like so simple like that. Because in us, the different gunas you can see that influences us. You can see on yourself. One day you're very, Jai, Prabhupada. You wake up for Mangalarati, you're serving, you're reading, and then the next day, I want to sleep more. Why should I get up, It means Tamoguna is more influencing us, so it's like going up and down, up and down. In the same way, Dronacharya felt anger, he was not. It's very hard to get rid of our anarthas in the heart. So it's very, very difficult. Because I don't know exactly the history, but there were many demigods there. And demigods, they are not pure devotees. And there are many demigods in Krishna Lila that appeared to help Krishna to get this pastime, get this Lila, But pure demigods, they are not pure devotees, you can see. So although Brahmin, he was not pure devotee, we can see that even Lord Indra, he gets mad. He feels anger. So we can say that Dronacharya was not free from anger. And in that way he got angry and he wanted. It's not so difficult to not get angry and like that. You wanted something else? Parashurama? Or? Yeah. 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 Brahmans. Yeah. 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 Yes, but maybe they did not want to kill them. They just want to fight them. And it is said there, if a Brahman is ready to fight, you can fight him. And so they were ready to fight. They came there. Bhima had a tree. He was ready to fight. Arjuna had the weapons. So they were, and it is said there, if they are ready, they prepared, okay, let's fight them. But I think that they did not want to kill them, actually. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.